Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Good Guys Talk Back, episode 200. I am Nick Morawski, and this is a fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast. You can find the podcast absolutely everywhere. We're on social media, on Twitter, at Good Guys TB. We've got a Facebook fan page, a YouTube channel. We've been doing this for a long, long time. This is season 5. And this here is episode 200. We've got a signing to talk about, a historic signing, and what could be happening with Liam Hendriks. Also, is Nick Madrigal going to come back to the South Side? All that and more. To chop this all up, my good buddy, diehard Chicago White Sox fan, Pat Hester. Hello, sir.
Nick, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all. This is our Christmas show. So I thought we'd do like maybe a variety show, like song and dance, maybe some comedy. It'd be a great opportunity for us to get outside of our comfort zone, Nick. No?
Yeah, do Christmas karaoke. Have you ever done anything quite like that?
I haven't done karaoke, Nick. Last time I did was with you.
Yeah, in college.
Back in
Sure.
let's call it maybe 2002. You and I did a duet, Brown Eyed Girl.
It's been 20 years since you've done karaoke.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it went well.
In our minds, it was a fantastic rendition.
Nobody left or yelled at us. So
well, I mean, I think they were giving away free cheese sticks at the time or something in the Abbey.
Stakes were low. Stakes were very low.
But it's good to talk to you. I'm excited.
Yes.
There's some great content to go over.
Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of things. I also want to get into, I don't know if you had an opportunity to read or listen to Chuck Garfien and his conversation about Yasmani Grandal and his rehab, the grueling rehab that he's gone through, which has kind of got me back on the, it is the season of hope, right? And wonder. So I've been hoping and wondering about Yasmani Grandal a little bit. So lots to go through today.
Yeah, the more we hear about Yasmani Grandal and all the layers that are peeled off of what happened this past season and beyond, and what he's trying to do this offseason, staying in Chicago, the folks that he's been working with, you got to appreciate it a little more. And to your point, there's hope that there can be a return to accustomed levels in 2023. So, yeah, we definitely got to get to that. Wow, out of nowhere, kind of. The Sox were not supposed to throw money at problems. Corner outfielders, major problems for the White Sox for multiple years. It sure seems like Oscar Colas is going to be your right fielder after, there's more and more that's coming out of that. I still think they need some outfield depth, but left field, they had 11 different left fielders in 2022. A.J. Pollock spent the most time in left field for the White Sox, yet he was a natural center fielder, really with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. So here the Sox are thinking about, well, maybe we'll do a trade, this, that, and the other. They throw a lot of money, a historic amount of money, to Andrew Benintendi to be their new left fielder. Pat, what were your initial thoughts when you heard about this?
I mean, you signed in my mind, a solid baseball player. You signed an actual outfielder that's going to play, in all likelihood, of a strong left field at a Gold Glove caliber. So now you look at your outfield completely differently than you did last year when you're going, well, we're very high or very bullish on this guy or that guy. You have a known commodity now in left field in Andrew Benintendi. So, and not only that, left-handed bat in the lineup gets a little more balance in there that we've all been talking about needing over the last couple of years. So he fills two big, things for you right there in terms of defensively and at the plate. Now you look at your entire outfield, Nick, with, what you have in Robert, which when he's right, obviously he was fighting something with the vertigo or whatever it was last year that he just wasn't himself in center field. But when he's right, he's a Gold Glove caliber center fielder, a Gold Glove caliber left field now, and they are really high. I hear more great things about Colas now, maybe just to get the fan base excited about that's where the red direction we're going. But now you've got actual outfielders playing in the outfield that actually can run down balls, close in on alleys and gaps, and make this a little bit more, sound defensively of a team when it comes to your outfield. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I did an episode on Locked On White Sox last week, a few days before the Benintendi announcement was made, and he was still out there, and there was the Joey Gallo rumors, and obviously there's the Michael Conforto stuff, and I don't know. I did it kind of just a hypothetical about does Pedro Grifol have a wish list? We keep
Mm-hmm.
hearing about the culture that he might want to create. It starts from day one at Camelback Ranch, and the team he wants to design. And I kind of have a feeling Tony La Russa had a wish list. They went after the best reliever on the market in Liam Hendricks. What type of bullpen La Russa likes to use. They went after Graveman. They went after Joe Kelly. Jake Diekman was their only trade deadline acquisition. It was all about relievers,
Yeah.
maybe for Uncle Tony there. Now, does Pedro Grifol have that same situation of, hey, this is what I want. Like, this is the type of team I'm trying to mold. I have experience with Andrew Benintendi in Kansas City, and I think we can unlock something with the people that I've put together now on this coaching staff. And I threw it out there. I knew it was going to cost American dollars, though. That was, but here they go. They throw 5 years, $75 million at him, which is, $2 million more maybe than the Grandal deal. So the richest contract in White Sox history, which if you ask other fans from different fan bases all over the country, they'd be like, wait a second, the Sox still haven't given somebody $100 million and your richest contract is to Andrew Benintendi. But that's the way contracts are going right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Sox, in my mind, Pat, what they did was they targeted a guy they went after. Maybe they overpaid, but they got the guy that Grifol wanted. And it seems like the organization has wanted for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And I heard today or read today somewhere. Oh, I think it was in Scott Merkin's his newsletter that he sends out. Saying that they would have drafted him in 2015 had he not already gone to, what was it, the Red Sox at the time, I think at number 8. So they've been high and big on him for a long time. So that's all good. And I think we have to kind of almost divorce ourselves, Nick, from the biggest contract in White Sox history. It is that's where it is, and kind of just look at it as what it is for this particular signing. The Sox are with the times in paying for a caliber of Benintendi's talent level. That's the correct, I guess, contract that type of player should get. Maybe in Sox terms, are probably way overpaid from what they would probably want to do, more years than they would want to give. But at least from this tier of player, they're paying and doing what the market would bear for a player like that. So that's good news. There will come a day when the Sox do sign a player for $100 million. It might be 10 years from now. And we're looking at the same vein that we're looking at this signing. Like, this is the biggest contract we've ever signed, and it's for a guy that you wouldn't think would, in this day and age, would deserve $100 million. But so I'd like to just kind of put that on the back burner, like that whole conversation, and just look at this for what it is. It was a good signing. I'm happy they did it. And, here's God willing that players can stay healthy, because I think it makes you a better team than you were 2 weeks ago. And that's what you need to do. You're not done. The job is not done by any means. So Rick should not, go back into hibernation. This is a time to continue to improve. It's not going to be big and splashy, but however they need to tweak and improve between now and February, whatever, when pitchers and catchers report, continue to do the work.
Yeah, he kind of puts an end to that question regarding Eloy Jimenez, which I'd love to know, like Eloy Jimenez's reaction when he found out this news that Andrew Benintendi is going to be on the White Sox for 5 years. It's the will Eloy, won't he kind of thing that we always get into when spring training approaches and the season's about to start. Like, is Eloy going to actually be your left fielder starting the season? Are you really going to try to give him another shot? It ends that, right? Like, this isn't a
you'd think
platoon.
that, unless this is a move for another move, I mean, the only way we're going to get better is via the trade, right? That's what Rick talked about. You mentioned not throwing money at the problem, even though they just signed Benintendi. Maybe it's an opportunity to shop Eloy. We keep
Hmm.
hearing all about Liam is the hot ticket item with the Mets, or other teams are interested in Liam Hendricks. Maybe there is an opportunity, if it's that big of a deal, that you can maybe get a good haul back for Eloy Jimenez, if someone wants to put him in left field. I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm just kind of speaking out of my ass a little bit here, Nick, to be honest with you. I don't know anything that could be real, but I would have to believe that they've had that conversation with him, and being open and honest about, listen, we're moving in this direction. You're going to be our everyday DH, and that's the way it's going to be. You might get a
Yeah.
spot start here or there in left field if need be, but this is the direction we're going.
Yeah, adult decisions. I
Mm-hmm.
think Ozzie Guillen made a point in the post game uh, towards the end of the season. Just things were spiraling out of control, and Guillen said, there's gonna be some tough decisions that have to be made, and it's centered around obviously the Jose Abreu decision, but a lot of other decisions, and of course the DH, the left field. We all have seen now what Eloy Jimenez has done, primarily as the DH. Pressure's off him in left field. And what is he, 25, 26? Nobody wants to just be relegated to a DH at that age, but you mashed the ball, man. You stayed
Yeah.
healthy. You are here for your bat, not your glove. And we went and got the glove. He's a gold glover.
Mm-hmm.
It improves our defense. We're seeing how he can work on his power. Benintendi he had a hamate bone in his hand that he broke in limited games for him last season. Very interesting athletic article out just a day or so ago by James Fegan on the kind of the swing coach that Benintendi has been working with, along with Mookie Betts in the offseason in Nashville. Just trying to barrel up, just trying to get that almost exit velocity. Not so you're thinking about hitting home runs. You're just trying to hit the ball as hard as you possibly can, and good things will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to do well. We hope in Sox Park, a homer friendly ballpark.
You would think so, Nick. And going back to Aloy, um, you know, I don't I told that whole thing, or said that kind of theory, just to say it. I still want Aloy here, because the power that he provides in the lineup is something that you just can't really replace. And he also showed last year, Nick, in the back half of the year, he was having a really decent production at the dish as a DH. So
He
he's shown he
was,
can
yeah.
do it. Yeah. So it didn't. There's a little small sample size that he can produce and be there. And the other thing is, you're more likely to stay healthy as the DH. And we need you. Your availability is your greatest ability. So we need you available almost every day, because we need your bat in the lineup. And this is the best way for us to do that.
This, I'm sure, will be a conversation that we can maybe re-examine closer to spring training or while it's happening. But the one thing I'll say with Eloy Jimenez is, dealing with all the leg issues that he has had, him sitting on the bench basically is the DH, and I'm not saying he's getting a ton of activity in left field. He's not in constant motion, but there's movement out there playing the field. I just wonder if there's a difference, to being fairly stagnant, sitting on the bench. Maybe you ride a bike in the clubhouse or something in between at bats, just so you're not going from a sitting situation to all of a sudden you're sprinting out of the box and your legs haven't been moving much at
Yeah.
all during the game, which he would have some sort of activity in left field. I don't know if I'm making too much of it, but you see where I'm going with that.
I think you're pitching yourself for the job, the Nick Morowski team rubdown guy. You need to get in touch with them and say, listen, you're
Yeah.
going to need somebody to rub this man down in between innings, and I'm your man. I'm your rub down man.
Yeah, I think that's an in-person thing too. I don't even make a call ahead of time. I just show up to the
Show up.
ballpark,
Here's my
right to the front
resume.
office. No, I don't even give a resume. I just
No.
say, just here, put this blindfold on. I'm going to give you a nice massage. You tell me if you feel like you can run faster.
Can you now
Uh,
hit a 450-foot home
exactly.
run?
Yeah, let the hands do the talking. Yeah, I don't man, I would be shocked, Pat, if he gets dealt. Absolutely
I
shocked.
would be too, but I just feel like I feel like there's some things that are
Percolating.
that could be on the table. I think they're open for business, and I don't think anybody on this team is really, outside of maybe Dylan Cease is an untouchable right now.
Yeah, I hear that. It just pains me to think that we would never know then what a healthy 150 game, 145 game Eloy Jimenez could do. Which
Yeah,
I think he can do
no,
some
and I'm with
serious
you.
damage.
I'm 100% with you. But again, if you're in the business of trading pieces off your major league club because that's the only real option you have to improve your club, then again, but it could be a guy like him or a guy like Gavin Sheets or a guy like a Jake Berger. These guys that are all similar skill set type guys, in terms of big power, not a real position. Big power, all DHs. So again, just a thought.
Well, then what would I would say maybe you shop and package Gavin Sheets then, because
Yeah, but are
then,
you getting the same amount back? I mean, if you're going to
well,
sell,
you would package Sheets with other people, because then I would say if you wanted to give Benintendi a breather out of left, you'd put Benintendi as your DH, and
Mhm.
then Eloy will be in left field. And then the question is, well, what are you going to do with Sheets? Because Sheets has got to get some playing time, I guess. I just think there's value for Sheets out there. There really is for a left-handed hitter with the shift going away.
Mhm.
I think there's some team that's like, I'll take him as a first baseman. I'll take him as, we'll give you some things from. You got to have the right partner. And what do you have for us? Do you have a plus second baseman that we can
Yeah.
use, please? I I don't know. So no, I like the Benintendi move. Honestly, he was a guy that I was hoping for over Gallo or Conforto. Not to say that they're out on Conforto. I still think they need, some more outfield depth. I really
Mhm.
do. They brought in Billy Hamilton back to the organization. I don't know what to even expect of him. What'll happen with him in 2023? I think that's a great morale move. I think that's a culture move. I think he did spend some time in the Kansas City Royals organization. Grifol might have known him and said, look, if we have an opportunity to get this guy in, I like his speed. I know he's a great clubhouse guy. Like,
Yeah.
let's bring him back. We can have some outfield depth. He was a fan favorite in
Yeah.
2021.
There's always room on a team for a guy that provides those intangibles and
Definitely.
speed and, the ability to be a defensive replacement should you need it in the outfield or steal a bag, right?
Yeah.
I mean, stealing bases is going to be something that and this team, especially this White Sox, were a great base stealing team. About the only thing that they did really well last year was stealing bases. So you continue to add that as an opportunity to put the pressure on opposing teams with bigger bases, maybe a little bit easier opportunity to steal.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I'm for it.
Speed is a disruptor. It
Hmm.
is something that you are terrified of late in a game. When you see a team's speedster being brought in the game to pinch run, the pitcher tightens up, the defense tightens up. They might start doing things that they normally wouldn't do. It affects the way you pitch to a batter. It completely
And,
changes
and
it.
and Nick, what does that remind me of? That reminds me of the way that the Kansas City Royals have attacked us for
Yes.
years. Is that
Yes.
pesky speed, irritant? It might be, the way I think power will still be a big part of this. We're going to rely still a lot on power
Who
on this
was
lineup, but
Pat? Was that Dyson player? Didn't we have Gerard Dyson at one
mhm,
point?
yeah,
Dyson was on the Royals during some of those years, and he
yeah.
was a burner. And they would bring him in late in the game, pesky. You said it best, and that's again going back to my just thinking of if they allowed Grifol to bring in a majority of his own coaches, right, aside from, of course, Daryl Boston, who's not going anywhere ever, and they said, look, we want Katz to stay in Hassler. That makes a lot of sense. Grifol, you bring in who you'd like, and a lot of familiar faces from the Kansas City Royals organization. And okay, it's the old Bill Parcells thing, right? If you want me to cook the meal, let me buy the groceries. And I just didn't know if they were going to, spend some money for Grifol, if they were really going to do this for Grifol, because if Grifol succeeds, Han succeeds. Han looks brilliant. Like, wow, you hired Grifol, and look what your team has done. He's gotten all of this out of these players that La Russa couldn't. I know that there's a lot of other things that go into play, but that's probably going to be the headline, right?
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see some guys being brought in that have some, you can make an argument that they could be Grifol guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And, again, there's a lot of excitement. It's always going to be that, especially when you're talking Pedro Grifol. We're fans, right? We always, if the one regime is out that we were really down on, it's something different, new and fresh. So we're going to give it a chance. And then, there's going to be a honeymoon phase for White Sox fans and Pedro Grifol. I'm sure there will be moves that are questioned. There always is with every manager. But I like the way that this is trending for him to succeed, because I'm with you. I feel like the moves that are starting to happen are to align with how he wants this team to look and play the game. And that can only mean, I think, good things, because we saw the way that this team last year, really wasn't aggressive, wasn't disciplined, didn't do many things very well. And I think, with the mindset of Pedro and, Kansas City hasn't won tons of World Series in the last 20 years, but they have been, just being an opponent of theirs, they've always been extremely fundamentally sound defensively. They again, especially in the outfield, they've had fantastic outfielders to play in Kauffman Stadium, which is a big outfield. And I like the way that things are trending right now. So again, I'm good with Colas in right field to see what that can be like. But I'm with you also. Like, if you want to solidify that a little bit more, make another move for right field, give Colas an opportunity to continue to grow, and that I could very much see this like 1 year deal type of thing for somebody in right, as kind of a a bridge, if you will, to Colas maybe in 2024.
Yeah, I think there's names like Adam Duvall that's out there, and I mean Adam Engel's still out there. I don't know if you bring him back, worst case scenario, and say for some depth, we want you for your speed and for your defense.
Do you think they would be scared to bring him back just because they're closest to the medical history with the legs, and that he is, his hamstrings are tighter than a peony string?
Yeah, that's probably. I think there's a reason why there was a non-tender, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes teams and players revisit, but most of the time it's like, you know what, we knew what we were getting, and we know what we're doing. And again, I don't know if I fully trust the organization, but I do think there needs to be some depth. I mean, the other big question mark is second base, and you're hearing a lot of different trades go with Liam Hendricks. New York Mets seem to be a team that are, I've asked about Liam Hendricks. They signed a reliever recently, so they might not be a partner anymore. They've got some players that we could potentially use, namely like Jeff McNeil. Sox, I think you want to go in with Romy Gonzalez at second base, Lenine Sosa. Okay, but why not? You showed your hand a little bit with the Benintendi move. Like, might as well go after a guy like Gene Segura. I'm not saying that all of a sudden the Sox are going to be in the conversation for the AL Elite, but it's a huge upgrade at second base. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you some more money.
Yeah.
But if you're in the business of trying to shore things up, and the trade's not there, and you're realizing the trade's not going to be there, please, he's sitting out there. Figure the second base thing out.
Yeah, and that's what we are worried about, right, Nick? Because this team is never in, fast forward. They're always kind of like in that. Well, we'll kind of see how this all plays out. I think this could be an opportunity for them to maybe go into the next year here and make something happen. But again, we've seen it before. It's not the way of this organization to kind of be super aggressive when it comes to these types of things. So
I
we'll kind of
feel
wait and see.
they really they tend to be a product of their environment, which is the AL Central, which
Mm.
moves at just a glacier's pace. Nobody's doing anything, and that can be kind of comforting in a way. It's like, well, no one else is doing anything, so we're okay because we're not doing anything. But it's that old adage when you're in grade school or in high school and you're doing the 50-yard dash, like, don't run against somebody that's about your speed because you think you're going to beat them. Like, go up against somebody that is faster, because by you trying to catch them, you will increase your speed and your time overall. And
I'm trying to sit here, listen to this analogy, and not fall over laughing, and think of a time that I tried to race a person that was the fastest person.
well, you're just not being that very aggressive. You got to set the market, Pat, and
That,
and
that,
that's what
that
the
was the day
Sox
I
do.
brought a note from my mom that says, "Please don't make my son run."
I just think this division is up for anybody.
Yeah,
So why not attack right now? This is the Sox opportunity to say, okay, we made a move. Now we're gonna make another move.
yeah.
Put everybody on their heels.
Well, I don't know that there will be anything that happens between now and Christmas. Like, I feel like it could be a quiet time. I don't know, but
A
maybe
peaceful time.
it is a peaceful time, and we have a blizzard coming after all.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah, I would imagine nothing else will really happen until after the holiday. I could be wrong, but my guess is it's people are packing it in right now for the holidays. I could be way off.
Let's talk Yasmani Grandal. The catching position has been talked about quite a bit this offseason. Sox were apparently kicking the tires on a Sean Murphy from Oakland. He has been dealt to the Atlanta Braves. Why would the Sox be interested in acquiring Sean Murphy when you've got still another year with Yasmani Grandal? Are you not confident that Yasmani Grandal can return, behind the dish health wise?
Mhm.
You might be confident that his bat might return, but his defense might not be where you want it to be. And now we're hearing also with this New York Mets thing. I don't know if you've heard this, Pat, is the reunion of James McCann. Like, well,
Yeah.
maybe we can get James McCann back, McCannon, who was beloved on the South Side, had a good stint with us for sure. Got himself paid by the New York Mets. So why is this? This urge, this desire, maybe to find another catcher, when it seems like the more news we get is Yasmani Grandal is progressing and he's expecting to bounce back.
Yeah, I think it's more of a, I mean, you're talking about uh I think some catching depth, because I don't know that the organization really trusts Yaz to stay healthy for the entire season. I mean, he's had some pretty long-term, somewhat catastrophic injuries with the back, with the knees twice, right? I think two
Yeah.
separate occasions with the knees. Um, and it's in a position where you take a beating, for however many games that you catch, whether it's, you know, I don't know what even the average it is now, but I would say at least 120 games for a starting catcher or so, somewhere in there, that you're going to be behind the plate. And but I will say this. If you haven't listened to it, I read the article from NBC. I know, shocked. I'm glad you're sitting down. I actually did read an article from NBC Sports Chicago which Chuck interviewed Yasmani Grandal, extensive
Was it read
discussion.
to you or you read it yourself?
Well, I mean, I did read it.
Okay.
It took me several hours, but I did get through
Several
it.
breaks.
Several. I had to get up and walk around a couple of times. But I just thought it was interesting. If nothing else, I think a lot of fans, you and I included, have given Yaz a really hard time.
Sure.
The power numbers are down. The defense isn't what we were sold it was supposed to be when we signed him. This is was the largest contract the Sox have ever signed, and this is what we get out of it. A guy that basically just walks, and can't do anything else. But he right now is putting himself through like hell to build his body back up, is from what he said, to build it back up so it can perform on a day in and day out basis, doing these, extensive workouts to the point of passing out because it's so grueling and extensive.
Is this what Rocky movie was he was in like a wood-shed and he was
Oh
was he
my
was he
goodness
training for the
gracious.
Russian against the
I
Russian?
think it was because he was in like the deep woods of Russia, and
lifting
he was
logs
he
and
was
he
in a
was
cabin.
just okay.
Yeah, I mean the
Really
normal workout stuff. I'm sure they have that at LA Fitness.
sure, of course.
Here's your log.
Planet Fitness, any one of those yeah.
Here's your log lifting room. But it's all about building up the legs and
Yeah.
strengthening the back. And he talked about his back injury that he had, that he could have had surgery on, but he felt so inclined to be there for his team. He opted not to get the surgery and just do the rehab, which put him on the shelf for 6 weeks anyway. And every time he'd take a step forward, it was a step back with another thing that would pop up with the legs or the hamstrings. So, a really unfortunate, string of injuries, if you will, for him. But you got to give him credit because he is it seems to me like he's working his ass off to be the player that we thought we were getting next year. And he's also very excited the shift is being banned, and excited for, the power to return. He talked about in the interview that there were balls that he thought he squared up last year that just didn't go because the power just wasn't there in the lower half. So,
Yeah.
So it gives me a little bit of hope. I was excited to read that. And because I think, again, he's the left-handed power that we need in this lineup.
Yeah, he's definitely working with somebody from the Blackhawks organization on just like different techniques. And there was an article in the Athletic maybe a month or so ago just on different strategies he's been working. Some folks in AAA he's been talking to, catching techniques, and as he's getting older, getting in and out of that crouch and just to put less strain on the knees. And yeah, I mean, the numbers are where they are because of the legs. And that's what happened in 2021, right? His legs were not right. They finally got right, and he exploded offensively the second half, or at least for 2 months after the All-Star break. So, I hate to say, boy, if this guy returns or if that guy returns to accustomed levels, it's like getting a free agent, major free agent signing, because the Sox should be actively out there trying to get better. And if guys on their team return to accustomed levels, well, that's just, an extra bonus. But guys like Giolito, guys like Yasmani Grandal, if we can get Robert and Jimenez to play 140, 145 games, wow, it is going to be a different team. And I hope it is. I hope Grifol's fingerprints are all over this. I really do. I hope he's just absolutely involved, because that's how I thought things were going to be different. It's one thing to just put a new person in the dugout, but if you're really going to let him mold and shape this team, then you're onto something.
Yeah, no, you're right, Nick. But we all we can do is speculate and hope at this point until we actually see some change on the field. And it's always positive, at this time of year, mostly especially after you sign some guys or a guy here or there, and it's like you look at things but there's still work to do. You don't have a left-handed starting pitcher. You're very righty heavy. So again, not that second base and right field aren't a priority, but what do you want to do? What would you do with a starting staff that's all right-handed? I'm sure it's not the first time in baseball history that all five starters are right-handed, but it's just a little odd.
Yeah.
We don't have a different look in your starting rotation. So is that somewhere you think that the Sox address, or is it like a promotion from within with Crochet? As working him in a couple spots starts here and there. It'll be interesting to see how they address that, if they are looking to address it.
Something that has been talked about locally is just what the Cubs are doing. They brought in Dansby Swanson, gave him just a ridiculous amount of money, and he is going to be their shortstop. Most likely, Nico Horner is going to play second base. So they've got a pretty nice up the middle. It seems like our friend Nicky Two Strikes, Nick Madrigal, might find himself on the outside looking in. Uh, what say you, Pat Hester? Would you like to see Nick Madrigal somehow, some way make his way back to the South Side?
I'm not as. It seems like every Sox fan and everybody I trust and know hates Nick Madrigal. He's not good. He can't do this. He can't do that. He was a guy in our system that we heard a lot about as he was coming up. He was like that other guy with Robert. Now, Robert, in terms of otherworldly, high ceiling and superstar ish type of qualities, that's the guy that you kind of go, oh my gosh, if we could ever unlock that for a full season, as you mentioned before, how great would that be? But Nick Madrigal was that other guy right along the way that was moving up the system with him. Those were the guys that we were getting reports about and hearing about. And with Madrigal, it's like he's a different type. He's very high in himself. He's going to hit, have 3,000 hits is what he boasted that he thought he could have in this league because of the contact he makes. But there's some real concern there. There's a couple things. Yes, he can hit the ball and he can get himself on base, but he's a terrible base runner. It looks like he's, you had mentioned, who was it that you talked about one in the field that he's with Josh Harrison. Yeah, I think you mentioned that Josh Harrison always looked like he's on ice. He's slipping all
skates, yeah.
He looks like he's on ice skates. I feel that way about Nick Madrigal. Like he's just kind of all over he's just, he doesn't run well. He doesn't run the bases well. He doesn't have good instincts. He also doesn't play a fantastic second base. So you're bringing a guy in and he doesn't hit home runs. So you're bringing a guy in that really is limited in what he can provide you. Do the pros outweigh the cons with Nick Madrigal? I don't really think so with what I just laid out for you. So I wouldn't be completely against it. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, because I still think there's something there that can be, there's some potential there. I still think with him, it's ever going to be with power, but it's going to be with getting on base, and maybe we improve here and there and things that we can improve on. But I don't really like that as an option.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would sign up and go, this is the first thing I want done is go back and get Nick Madrigal.
Yeah, I thought it was an odd choice when it actually happened. Fourth overall in 2018 out of Oregon State. Although you talk about Chuck Garfien, he had some great podcasts when Madrigal first was drafted with Oregon State's coach, and boy, they really sold it. They really sold me on Madrigal, and he doesn't strike out, contact hitter. I mean, he's constantly working at his game. There was the Nelly Fox comparison, the Altuve stuff, and I could see it. This is going to be our future second baseman. We got Tim Anderson at short. We're going to have Nick Madrigal at second, but it just didn't seem like his game was able to transfer to Major League Baseball. It just seemed like it was going too quick for him. And I don't know. I think he can play, but it's a team that's looking for that type of player, that fits in their style of play. I don't know if the Sox should be going that route, of more just contact hitter, slap hitter.
Yeah.
I want to see some more pop out of that position. I really do. some
And
more
I'd much
range.
so. And how do you acquire him back? Is it via it's got to be via
Right,
trade, right?
right.
So
Yeah,
I don't know that I'm in the business of doing a trade for the same player I traded to that same team that's in the same town.
yeah,
It feels weird. It's like, okay, you both teams look at each other and go, okay, we both lost this trade.
yeah, yeah.
I'd like to return. I saw the receipt. I'd like to return this person back to you
Yeah.
if that's
Gently
okay,
used.
gently
Yeah.
used. And I would like this piece from you. It's like, no, I don't think so. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we let that one just go by the wayside with the Carson Fulmers and the Zach Collins of the world. You know what? That one just didn't work out. We had a
Mm,
stretch of them. We really blew it. Hey, when that trade went down and we acquired Kimbrel, it seemed like in theory this was great. This is the
yeah,
reliever on the market again. This is the Tony La Russa way, right?
yeah.
Let's gather all of these amazing relievers and closers, and that's his game. So we'll see if Grifol continues to shop this holiday season. How do you, I guess, as we're winding down here, how do you feel about the Sox now since our last conversation?
I feel slightly better. Again, I guess it's not just the Benintendi signing; it's the fact that they had a need and they went after it and they filled a need with a guy that again I feel like is more than a professional body out there, somebody that's going to be an impact and again checks a lot of boxes for you. So that was good, and the fact that they actually spent some money when you thought they wouldn't spend anything at all. So that again makes me go back to my my theory of don't ever believe anybody in a press conference or what they say because usually it's a lot of BS and they threw money at a problem like you had mentioned before. So it gives me some hope for other things that they may still be in the mode of going out and spending money because all I heard, in the offices and anywhere else and listening to anybody that would want to talk was the Sox aren't spending any money. The only thing they're going to be able to do is trade, and that's how they're going to improve. And then lo and behold, last Friday hits and they sign a free agent.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel good from that standpoint. Not satisfied. I don't think we should ever be satisfied as fans. But I'm less angry, and I'm glad I didn't put any money towards the GoFundMe to buy a billboard that says "Sell the team."
That's something else, huh?
Huh?
I
Did you contribute?
No, I did not
Nickels?
contribute, but I applaud the efforts, man. There's a lot of angst, there's a lot of anger, and I think that uh, it wasn't necessarily the name Andrew Benintendi that like got me excited. It was, oh, this is the person you wanted, and you were aggressive, and you went to go get them.
Hmm.
It's again like the Clevenger deal. Whether you're on the fence on the deal or not, it's how they went about and they did it. They were proactive, they were aggressive, and they got it. They got it out of the
Hmm.
way. They didn't play someone else's game, or get into a bidding war or something. And it sounds like they were up against the Yankees too with this. And from what
Mm.
I understand, Benintendi just wanted out of New York. Like, I want a
Yeah.
different scenery. I want some. I just, I'm ready to leave. And the Sox made a very generous offer, so it made it kind of easy. And I think maybe a reunion with Grifol and some coaches, and he saw what the potential is with this team. So I think it's going to be a nice fit. I really do. And it's 5 years. Like, we don't have to worry about this corner outfield situation maybe for a while.
Yeah.
And the Sox can start, taking care of some other needs here.
Yeah, that's good. I'm excited about that, and again, I'm excited for more. And it's a great time of year, Nick. It's a holiday season. You and I are getting ready to celebrate with family and friends, and I want to just congratulate you. And this is episode 200, which is a
Yeah.
big milestone for this podcast, and it's our holiday show. Not sure if we're going to have another one. We're going to pump out before the end of the year, and I just want to say, Merry Christmas to you, my friend. It's been a fantastic year. And if we don't talk on this platform for a little bit, Happy New Year, and looking forward to spring training because it'll be here before you know it. We'll be getting ready for pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you. Thank you for another just amazing year. It was not the type of outcome we wanted from this team, but always a pleasure. I talking White Sox with you, and yeah, episode 200, man. This is quite the feat. Just again, thinking back where this has gone, and through a pandemic, through the lockout, and in so many different ways. I'm excited. I really am excited what 2023 has to offer. I'm frustrated with this team at times. We give them a lot of hell, but they're a team that's like connected, Pat, to our past, and they shape our present really, and kind of our future with our families and our kids and everything like that. So it's a great time, holiday season, get together with family, friends, talk White Sox. Hopefully these conversations continue in your worlds. Yeah, we'll see what we can do about getting another episode out before the new year, but with timing and everything, it'll come out soon, though, sooner rather than later. But folks, really appreciate you being with us, whether you just found us recently or you've been with us from the beginning. It means a lot. Continue to pass this podcast along to every Sox fan in your life. You can find the podcast absolutely everywhere. We've got a YouTube channel. We're on Twitter at Good Guys TV. We've got a Facebook fan page. Pat Hester, buddy, always a pleasure, my friend.
My friend, I will talk to you next time. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and cheers to you, my friend.
You too, buddy. Folks, thank you so very much for Pat Hester. I am Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.